Hello, and a very good evening to all of you who have joined us today. This is our edition of the Domain series from Applied AI Association. I'm Gayatri Devi, the India chapter president of Applied AI Association, which was started in the US in San Jose by Nathan Pettyjohn. He's a founder. And we are now 16 chapters rich across the globe. We have three chapters outside of US. India is one of them, and I think we are already in the lead. We're doing very well. A lot of events all about AI, educating people who are wanting to know, wanting to contribute and learn more. So we have all kinds of people meet us and talk to us. In this interesting panel discussion that we are going to have today, this is about marketing. That's a domain that has probably adapted to AI and started using a lot of AI tools very early in the life cycle. And hence, I thought it's important to have this session and get the experts to speak to us about where we are in the evolution of AI in the marketing domain. The earlier ones has been on education. We've had on healthcare. We've had talks on ERP, and more is to come. It all depends on how you all patronize the way we are putting up. And please do get your feedbacks coming across to us. We would like to know what else interests you, because we are, as our vision, mission, and goal in the field of educating people about AI and all about it, right? So, without much ado, I would like to hand over the session to our moderator, Shweta. She comes with a lot of experience in marketing and in AI specifically. She's AI director for Toss the Coin. And then we have Sowmya, who's one of our speakers today, and Ajay Matthew and Neeraj. All of them have tons of experience and a lot of inquisitiveness. I guess that calls for a great discussion today. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, GD. Very super cool that you finally settled on interesting as the adjective for this panel. Thank you for that, of all the recommendations that we went with. Anyway, thank you so much. And I'm super happy to be doing this, super excited to be here with Neeraj, Ajay, Sowmya, and of course you, GD, to discuss what the forefront of AI looks like in the field of marketing. And, I do want this to be a discussion. And with you guys, I promise that, to our viewers here, that it's going to be super candid, very real, and highly valuable about where marketing agencies are using AI, how prospective hires are being looked at for AI roles in AI in marketing. So it's going to be a pretty incredible session, and I do want to take this time to introduce our panelists. They are going to talk about how AI is changing the way marketers work, how to stay relevant and strategic, and how to balance speed, scale, and responsibility as we move deeper into this transformation. So we have Ajay, who has restructured his entire organization around AI. He's been super successful in embedding it into everything, right from SEO to team structure to how they deliver content at scale to clients. And we also have Neeraj, who comes with a contrarian view of slow marketing, has immense experience in delivering campaigns that truly resonate with people who are looking at his clients. He does come with some sharp examples as well. And then we also have Sowmya, who has an amazingly deep expertise and a CMO level insight as to the practical use cases of AI in demand gen targeting. She takes the game a whole league ahead, I would say, where when a lot of us are looking at custom GPTs and gems and all of that, which is still puts companies leads ahead. She's looking at agentic workflows, working with agents to deliver immense value for the demand gen pipeline. So I'm now going to give a minute to each one to talk about some of their work and how they use AI. So, Sowmya, would you want to get started on introducing yourself to the people who are watching?
Thank you, Sweta, and thank you, GD, for this wonderful webinar. I'm really excited about the topic AI and marketing. It's something which I'm really passionate about. I am experimenting with AI tools on a daily basis, and as a marketer, I feel like a kid in a candy store. So looking at all shiny objects and trying to all the colors that it comes with. So it's been a very good year. I've spent a good amount of time experimenting and building some of the tools myself, and some which I will share during the course of this conversation. I've been in B2B tech space for a little over 25 years now. and led marketing organization for both product companies and services companies. Looking forward to this fantastic conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sowmya. You're absolutely right in that analogy of calling it a candy store for all of us who are inquisitive about learning more about what AI can do. Thank you. Neeraj, on to you. Can you please let us know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Shweta, and thanks, GD, for this opportunity. Hi, everyone. I am Neeraj Sancheti. I'm the founder and CEO of Kreativ Street. It's a creative and inbound marketing agency based out of Gurgaon. And we work with enterprise customers and mid-sized companies, helping solve their marketing challenges. So AI in marketing is something that in fact, all marketers are really excited about in varied degrees as per their understanding and as per their perspective towards AI. At Creative Street, how we look at AI is twofold. One, we look at AI from an internal perspective, which is at the agency, how are we using AI to drive speed, scale, and value to our customers? And secondly, is externally, how is AI impacting our customers? And between the two, a lot of our focus is on the external side because in the end, for an agency to deliver value to its customer, they need to understand the problems that the customers are facing. And with AI, there are varied sort of challenges that are coming within the marketing landscape, which we will talk more about in today's session. So that's largely about me.
Thank you so much, Neeraj. We're so looking forward to hearing more about you and how you add value to your clients at a marketing agency scale. And that brings us to Aji. Hi, Aji. Thank you for being here. Would you like to give us a little bit of an intro?
Thanks, Shweta. So we run a digital marketing agency. So it's based out of Calcutta, but we operate across India and global. So we have the scale problem as well. So we have more than 200 plus people who are working in digital marketing in itself. So at a group level, we also do technology, data, AI, and etc. So that will be around close to 800 odd people. So that creates a different scale of problem when you want to implement AI into the system. So I keep telling people that I'm not obsessed with AI, but I'm possessed with AI. So I am in no control of myself if I talk about AI all the day. And implementing AI or doing AI in itself is a different ball game altogether. So the way I explain people is that now you are living with a genie. So you have to learn how to live with a genie. So what you can do, what you cannot do, is no more answer about whether Aji is capable of doing this or not. So is Aji plus Genie capable of doing this or not? So that mindset change is what need to bring on. But overall, like I have 20 plus years of experience in digital marketing, so I've seen a lot of waves coming, going, and stuff. But yeah, this AI is the first time when probably we knowledge workers, knowledge industries are seeing the automations that non-knowledge industries have already experienced. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult thing for many people to accept it, but it is a reality here to be redefining how knowledge industries are operating. So, yeah, in the following sessions, we'll be talking more about it. So, that's a quick brief about what we do.
Thank you, Ajit. That is really interesting, and it would be very valuable to understand more about how you've implemented it at that kind of a scale, and also ensure consistency and quality to all of your clients. So, really looking forward to unpack a bit more of that. So, let's start with how enterprises and processes are using AI, infusing their processes and some possible use cases. So, I'm going to start with Sowmya. What changes have you seen, Soumya, in marketing processes with AI, especially from that CMO and enterprise lens?
So this is an interesting question because fundamentally marketers or marketing leaders look at three objectives, right? If you look at any marketing function, whether it's B2B or B2C, you are either creating market awareness for your brand or brand awareness. That's objective number one. Objective number two would be to create demand or generate demand. And objective number 3 would be to enable your sales to sell, right? Your products and services. So these are fundamentally the 3 marketing objectives that every marketer or marketing leader is looking at. And marketing processes around these are evolving with AI, because I see all of these processes or all of these objectives converging into one. Over the course of last, I think 1 year alone, marketing is not being viewed as generating demand or campaign orchestrators, but they are now being viewed as growth processes in the organization. So from an enterprise level, you will see an enterprise buyer or an enterprise CMO looking at marketing and sales as not distinct processes, but converging at some point in time to grow the business of the organization. So if you were to look at LinkedIn over the last, I think 1 year or so, the number of jobs that have surged in the area of growth marketing, growth engine, chief growth officer, it's um, it's astounding. And it's not just about CMOs or chief sales officer. It is now everybody is looking at marketing as a growth engine, and therefore the processes and the sales and marketing processes are converging. So that's one change that I'm seeing that AI is bringing. The number of roles that you have in the marketing organization and the sales organization are also converging, which means is that the collective, exhaustive, and mutually exclusive roles are reducing. Like in the earlier, you would have a demand generation. I'm sure Aji and Neeraj would know that you would have a campaign manager, you would have a sales enablement manager, you would have a pursuit manager, a content manager. So you will have distinct roles. Now I see all of these roles are now converging in some way or form, and therefore the distinct possibility of doing more with less seems to be another change that I'm seeing that AI is bringing in marketing processes. So these would be the two fundamental shifts. Some level of role consolidation and redundancy. That is what I see. And second is marketing and sales processes converging into being something called as growth processes now.
So, looking at some of these scenarios where you talked about convergence, what are some specific use cases that you see, Sowmya, where agentic AI is being used by some of these leaders?
So, specifically, I will talk about targeting, I will talk about campaign generation because I mentioned about demand generation. So, fundamentally, most organizations or CXOs or CEOs look for marketers to run campaigns, whether it's a brand awareness campaign or market awareness campaign or a demand generation campaign. They are viewed as campaign orchestrators, right? So, what AI is able to do, and I'm talking in more in terms of CRMs that we use today, whether it's Salesforce or whether it's Zoho or HubSpot that we run and execute these campaigns. They basically house a lot of data, which includes master and transaction data. So now with AI, what's happening is that you're also infusing another layer of data, which is intent data. Now, with that intent data, what I mean by intent data for your audience is also is that you're looking at past purchase history, you're looking at customer interactions, you're looking at lead generation, what the heat map and where the customer has visited, what kind of demos the customer is requesting for. So you're looking at interaction history, you're looking at transaction history, and you're infusing AI. And most of CRMs today have an AI agent and inbuilt sort of autonomous agent that basically learns from this data and is able to also tell the campaign orchestrator or the growth marketer as to which is the most effective campaign or what is the most likely to be most effective campaign for you if you were to run this market segment, this product, this offering. So there is some bit of AI infused predictive analytics capability sitting on top of CRM data that is a use case that I see fundamentally for marketers to use today when they are orchestrating or running campaigns. The second use case that I see is in the product market fit. So if you are developing a product today, or you're in very early stages of your product development, and you can actually whiteboard your MVP today. And there are a lot of integrated development environments. You don't need to be a coder. You don't need to know any tech. You can write code with simple prompts. I have done that myself, and you can actually build this MVP. You don't need to know Figma. You don't need to know Miro. You don't need to have the UI knowledge. You can use agents in these integrated development environments and build your first MVP and test it for pilot use case and feedback. And you can build conversational AI layer in that particular interface and infuse that with some early feedback from your customers. So you don't have to go through the product development life cycle um, to be disappointed later on if there are no buyers for your product. So the early value proposition or the test use case for your products when you're building your MVP or when you're testing your product in the validation phase, I have seen AI play a tremendous role there. That's why you see so many of these wrappers being built and tools being built for specific use cases. So these two specific use cases I have used AI for as a marketer, and I believe there will be many more that are likely to come in months to come as AI evolves and enterprises embrace AI.
Thank you so much. You are right about how AI has tightened the loop and how people go to market quicker with better products because of the tight feedback loop, and that was a great point of view. I now want to move this to Aji. Aji, you've taken a very bold internal approach to AI adoption, right? From your organization design to daily workflows. How can you share a bit more about this mindset shift across your organization that has unfolded, and a little bit more about your AI days?
Right. So, see, basically, one need to look at what you mean by AI. So, AI was always there. So, within the AI, implementing that inside the companies were always having an approach where you could take the data, you could develop your own intelligence, and using this, you could automate various aspect of intelligence within your company. But with the launch of ChatGPT, what happened is that it is now accessible to each one of us, and now you have the tools available to do many more things for your own activities. So from the company use, it has become professional use as well. So that is a major shift that happened. And now when this happened, how big is the shift? So within 2 months or so, if I'm not wrong, somewhere like November is when ChatGPT got launched. By January you had around 100 odd million people who are using ChatGPT. So this was relatively very big. People were talking about it. So the approach that we have taken is that we knew that this is going to be a very powerful thing. How it will fold, what will work, what will not work, we don't know. So as a policy, one need to keep, neither be super excited about it nor be afraid of it, jump into it, be aware of it. So we took a approach maybe after 6 7 months, that we will be an AI first company. So what I mean by AI first company is not just for a wording, but also to approach like that. For example, as I said, that you need to know that AI is like a genie. So I give this as a example for people to understand. So you are asked to make biryani for 10 people. So normally what people will do is they will cut the vegetables, they will do everything, and then when there is a big utensils to pick or to lift, you will say, oh, I have a genie, let the genie pick the utensil and put it on the stove so that I can prepare the biryani, kind of a thing. So that heavy lifting is what you thought genie can do, but you did not think that genie can also do the vegetable cutting, genie can also do the whole preparation. So what a genie can do is not, we are not trained to do that. So we always think that, okay, I can do this with genie, but why not other things with genie? So AI first approach means, do ask genie for everything. If genie is stuck somewhere, you try and see how genie can work there. So that is a different approach altogether. So instead of drafting an email, can you run through that same system where the emails can be drafted through? Is why will you read your own email? Why can't the email be read by the system and it can give you a summarization? So that AI first approach means for everything, try and put that kind of an approach. And it's not easy. We are not comfortable with it, we don't live with that. So that's why some people will be excited about it, will say, oh, let's explore. And most of the people will have, oh, what is this nonsense? Now it is still kind of a mainstream. So what, for that what we did is, on every Thursday we celebrate AI Day, where people just come and share what they have done. And so that started creating small excitement in people. So there were a lot of people who were afraid whether my job will be lost and etc. So they've all gone through that crying and fear and the change curve that we normally see, to a level where now people are excited about it because each AI tool does things differently. Each element does things differently. So for example, last week somebody had created a very consistent model for the one of these retail chains. Now the same model is used for multiple photo shoots. Now all of those models are AI models, but they're not very senior people in the team. But they have been experimenting this, that every time when you're using the model, their face changes and things changes, and now they're excited about correcting those things using that. So they reach that AI stage, or the excitement stage, where they're not seeing AI as a separate part of their life. They're seeing they plus AI on an everyday basis. So that shift is something that you want to bring in. It's not easy, but it is very essential to do it. And unless people see the power of AI, it is always that small part of the genie, that you can pick up this or you can do this, but it can do a lot more things, and it will also get stuck at various things. It has its own challenges. Like for example, when I write a script, which is all English, if I write a script of 20 steps, there are possibilities that after ninth or 10th step that it will forget what you have done, because the context window is not that very high.
Yeah.
But if you use a separate model which has a higher context model, it will not happen. So you have your own learning curve. So that's what people have started doing it, saying, okay, this particular model is very good for this. Similarly, cost structure, and especially if you're working in India, the cost structure is going to be one of the most critical thing that we'll start talking about in the, because the token wise costing is very different in every model. So that's why you need to be there, experience it, enjoy it, learn it. And it has not even started impacting the knowledge space yet. So I am assuming that in the 6 to 9 months, when all of these layers of automations will start kicking in and you'll have standardized products available to it, then my assumption is almost 80% of the job will become redundant in the system.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. When we talk to large enterprises as well as smaller teams, one big challenge that they're having is change management on how to enforce AI adoption across teams. And the fact that you've been able to do it across your organization of over 200 people is definitely an incredible tale. And something after what you said, I'm really craving biryani right now for some reason, and candy.
And candy, yeah.
Yeah. So, Neeraj, I do want to bring this to you now. You have a very fresh contrarian take of slow marketing. What does that mean in the context of what does it first of all mean, and where does it stand in the very fast AI-driven marketing that we're seeing right now?
Sure. So first of all, I mean, slow marketing, I wouldn't call it really a contrarian view, because slow marketing is not anti-AI, right?
Right.
It's just using AI with a bit of purpose and clarity, right? So just to define slow marketing, so slow marketing is nothing but a purposeful way of doing marketing, where you prioritize engagement over volume, you prioritize depth over speed, you prioritize long-term view of things over short-term wins, right? So that in nutshell is what slow marketing is, right? So just picking up, for example, on Ajay's example of the genie and the biryani, right? So, for example, the biryani can possibly pick up the utensils, can cut vegetables, but the genie might not be trained to know that all the 10 people who are there, what is their taste, right? So, for example, whether a person A would like biryani to be spicy, person B would like it to be slightly sweet, so on and so forth, right? So that's where I think the human aspect comes in, right? So slow marketing essentially advocates a human plus AI approach in this AI, driven world. Uh, and we have been seeing a lot of use cases of AI across different workflows, right? So whether it is content generation, image generation, video generation, to start with, and then going on to things like, filtration or, curation of the right MQLs that you are getting on your system with performance marketing, right? But something, for example, uh, when we are using AI, is one of our quick commerce clients, right? So they basically import products which are into women beauty care related products from China, right? Now, usually they don't have the products in hand, right? So they would have sometimes very poorly clicked pictures of the products from China, right? But still, just to match the pace of how quick commerce works, right? So by the time the product is imported into India, they want the quick commerce to already go live, right? Now, traditionally, that would not be possible, right? Typically, an agency would say, okay, let the product come, we will get it, then we will do the photo shoot, and then we will create the listing images, A plus content, so on and so forth, right? But now AI has fundamentally changed it, right? Now, even with a very poorly clicked picture, you can use the image generation model to generate something very high quality, right? And that's for example one use case, right? But just to take that forward, we are consciously not using AI for creating listing images, right? And I'll explain why. For example, if you get any AI model to create these kind of images, it is trained on a certain data set, right? And the output will also be around that. So for example, we just to give you and since we have three women on the panel, there was a product called scrunchies, right? Hair scrunchies, right? And there was a set of three different scrunchies of three different colors, right? So the creative team came up with an idea of using ice cream and using the scrunchie as a scoop, right? If you can imagine it like a rainbow colored ice cream, right? Now that was something that was imagined by a human, but that cannot be executed by a human, right? So that's again where AI comes in. So if you look at this entire workflow, there was AI in the beginning, then there was human, then there was AI, right? So essentially, just to summarize, slow marketing advocates a purposeful and responsible way of using AI, where you know what are the pros of AI and you know where human can play a better role, right? So that's how we are using AI in our agency to sort of grow.
I think purposeful marketing here is really the key here because where I see a lot of people use AI, it's mindless most
Yeah.
of the cases, and this really helps add that proper value, I would say. Thank you for that round, guys, and I want to now talk to you guys about tools versus processes. How do you each decide what's worth investing time in? Aji, why don't we start with you? How does it work? Do you at the top level experiment with tools first, and then once you know something is worth it, it trickles down to the team? How do you decide which to invest in?
Yeah, before Aji responds, sorry to interrupt, Shweta. The flow is good. I'm learning a lot. I'm making notes. There are a lot of questions coming up, and we have a good turnout of audience listening to us, which is very good. I just want to let all the audience members know that we will finish the discussion and we'll keep the last 15 minutes or so for questions. Okay. So give us another 15 to 20 minutes. We should be done. Then we'll come to the questions. Go ahead, Shweta.
Perfect. Thank you, Giri. So yes, Aji.
Yeah. So basically, right now there is like, the example. I mean, the tools wise, there are hundreds of tools that are there that are getting available, but most of the tools are going to get outdated because what they are doing is they are taking up the centralized LLM model and putting some instruction on top of it and getting something and getting to the market, and it finds like a wow feeling because somebody has done your job and it's very easy. So from a tool perspective, you can be lost in that candy store, as you said. That so if you see my AI list, there are hundreds and thousands of AI tools that are there in that list. But you know, fundamentally, you need to understand that are they solving, which is so difficult uh, in the overall nature. For example, do because AI is nothing but AI. Either they have a very strong data set which you don't have. For example, if somebody has trained that model on high performance advertisement, and they have collected it around a 10,000 high performance advertisement, and they've trained the model on top of it. So because of their data, it becomes much more valuable, and they will remain valuable till the time they have automated it. And I mean, they have this data set which is very fine tuned automation which is there. So all the major models are generic models, and if there is a niche model which is solving very specific, for example, if you see a tool like Napkin AI. So Napkin AI is specifically trained on all the infographics that you need, or all the graphic related things that you need, and they've trained it so well. So no matter which other tool you use, it's very difficult to match up with the quality that a Napkin AI will give you for any of your presentations. So that is superb there. So with tools, the recommendation to the system is, I mean, people is just use that tool, but also understand the background of that company which is developing the tool. Don't go overboard with any tool, but also understand, because even there may be some companies or some tools which are very bad initially, but if they are working on something which is very data heavy or very process heavy and etc., today or tomorrow their tool will become best tool in the system. So you should keep a watch over that kind of a tool. So don't go over excited with the tool and say, I know this tool, I know that tool, and etc. You should focus on the the background of AI. Everyone should focus a little more on understanding what an AI means. What does this mean by image processing, voice processing, video processing? What does this really mean? And who is solving what kind of an area? Then it's easier for you to take a decision that whether you really want to use that particular tool and all. So that's a broader guideline that I have for myself and for everyone else in the system who is trying to get into tools. But yeah, as a team, they have different budgets. They keep on exploring tools. They get excited. They get bored. Some of this is short-term use it, throw it kind of a thing. So very rarely we have entered into a 1 year contract with the tools. In few of the areas we have gone ahead and taken a 1 year contract, but most of the tools are 1 month kind of a contract for experimentation. If that works out, then we continue for a few months, but we know that a new update will make it redundant altogether.
Uh, Thank you. Super. So, Sowmya, on to you. So, processes, tools, how do you decide which one to invest in?
So it's not a binary answer, actually. It's not like processes or tools, it's both. So I think you design for experiments with tools, and I experiment with tools without really having a clear outcome in mind, but I do experiment to see what the possibility lies, right? Some of it, what Aji already covered. And then for processes, I think fundamentally as humans, what do we really crave for? We crave for being more productive, hopefully not lazy with AI. And we also crave for doing more with less. So, as individuals, if we are able to use AI to help achieve that, as in increase our productivity on a daily basis, I think whether it's that tool or whether it is that process, it doesn't matter as long as you're able to achieve your objective. So I wouldn't have an answer as to this versus that. I think you should experiment with AI tools and build for scale and try to see what works for you and build it out on top of AI when it offers you.
Perfect. 10 out of 10. Neeraj, purposeful marketing really entails identifying the perfect tool. So, how do you see that, your process? How does that factor to the kind of tools that you decide to invest in?
So I think I would second with what Aji said in terms of process first and tools second, because tools again you can really get lost amongst the sea of tools. So for example, usually if you go on LinkedIn and Twitter, right, and if you are following people who are talking about AI, you will literally find a new tool every single day, right? So it's also important to follow very limited number of people and very trustworthy people who can provide you the right tools and the right use cases, right? So process first, obviously that's the way forward. And within that also, I think what has worked for us is identifying the use cases, right? So for example, if you come across any new tool, you will find insights into what are the different use cases that these tools have, right? So if you feel that use case fits into your workflow, into your process, that's that's when you should try a particular tool, right? Uh, and within our agency, the process that we follow is that we typically give 2 weeks, 14 days, which is also the standard free trial period for any tool, right? So that's the experimentation time we give to our team. So, for example, if you want to try any tool, take 14 days and then come back with what was your experience, good, bad, right? And if you then want to continue using it, then we use it over next 3 months, which is 1 quarter, right? And then quarterly we review it that, okay, for example, do we want to continue using it or do we want to stop using it and replace it with something else, right? So this is broadly the guideline that we are following internally. But I think my only sort of big takeaway from this entire thing would be that it is very important to keep away from a lot of noise around tools, right? So yeah, that's how I'll put it.
That's a good way to end that. You stay away from noise, focus on what use case you really want. That's the big takeaway for me from what all of you said. I want to now shift the lens from market, small and medium, shift the focus to small and medium businesses. So AI is going so fast that whatever was relevant 6 months ago is not really relevant now. And they small and medium companies, they don't have dedicated AI marketing leads. So, but they still need to move fast to stay competitive. So, if you are a founder or a CMO or a business head, where exactly should you start? What's a smart way to bring AI into marketing without overcomplicating it? So, Sowmya, from an enterprise point of view, what's a really good early signal that some of their experiments are already working or if they need to pivot?
I think, see, it starts top down, and I believe if your leader is using AI for some kind of productive I mean, increase productivity and use it for internal processes first, that's a good signal that the team will become AI first. If you in most digital first companies and teams, you will see that there is obviously experiments, there is innovation happening with certain team members who are more AI savvy than others. So I think it needs to begin top down, in my view, so that you can secure budgets, you can secure confidence, the teams will start upskilling themselves. There will be a natural progression towards or affinity towards development and building your skill base. So I think that's the first signal that I see as leaders becoming more AI savvy and using it in their daily workflow processes internally first before experimenting with customers or externally. So that's one area that I think AI can sort of help.
Super. And Aji, so if you were to advise a small, medium company that's starting out and exploring AI in marketing, what is one high leverage area you think they should automate first?
So it's very natural to be afraid, and there's so many things happening. So my suggestion to them is AI is going to evolve, and the job of AI is not to complicate. You're not supposed to learn AI. If you're learning AI, then what is the purpose of AI, right? So it's not that complicated. Right now, people are saying, I want to use this tool, I have to learn about this tool, I have to do this. Like there are prompt engineers who are being done and etc. You don't have to learn prompt engineering. You can just ask and saying, I want to design this, what prompt I should give. It will give you the prompt and say, just execute it. So my suggestion to all the SMEs who are there is don't get somewhere confused about AI. Give it some time. You continue to learn and read whatever you are. So my gut feeling is that within next 6 months, 1 year, you will have systems given to you either by the large players, new players, and etc. who will emerge, where you will only input few entries, rest of the things will be taken care of. So you don't have to learn right now, because all of these things will anyway get outdated, because the pace of change is really quick. For example, today in advertisement, an SME does not have to create multiple campaigns. whether it is on Facebook, which is running on the Power 5 or the Google Performance Max and etc. They just have to put their URL, few basic advertisement. The audience is automated. Google in itself will automate your ad creation and multiple things. So as an SME, this is going to democratize your marketing. So but don't worry that you don't know how will it get done. It is just a matter of time, then this will become so easy for you. So doing is going to be easy. Focus on fundamentally what you are trying to solve. The best product will win the best marketing, not the best promotion. So if you are not best at your product, no promotion will save you in the days to come, because doing things will be much easier. So you have to focus on your niche. You have to go into your fundamentals. So become best in your fundamentals and become a first principle thinker. Rest of the things will be taken care of.
Well said, Aji. So that brings me to Neeraj. So Neeraj, again, with respect to small and medium businesses, what is one mistake you think organizations should avoid while introducing AI in marketing function? There's a lot of FOMO going around, and people do want to do it very quickly, and they want to see results quickly. So what's one mistake you think they should avoid, Neeraj?
So I think not doing AI for the sake of doing it is what people should avoid, right? Because I've seen AI has also become a part of a lot of coffee and party conversation where people are ending up talking, okay, I'm using this AI tool here. So this has become like the new coolness quotient to say, right? So I think fundamentally, not just small and medium enterprise. I mean, everyone should stay away from it. And I think what Aji and Sowmya said, that fundamentally whatever is the most important aspect of the business, right? And if AI can make a dent there, right, that is what one should focus on. So for example, today Google rolled out something, a new tool called Doppel, right? Which is essentially used for creating for fashion brands. You can just create try-ons for different dresses and attires that you have, right? Which also fundamentally kills a lot of AI companies which came up just for this use case, right? So I think as small and medium businesses, you need to be also aware of such tools which can save a lot of money and expedite a lot of processes, right? So for example, typically a sari manufacturer, right, say based out of Surat, right? Now they would be they typically go to a Bombay, to get modeling done for their products, right? Now, fundamentally, you don't need to do that, right? An AI tool can do that for you, right? So imagine the amount of hassle and time it saves for that small business, right? So it's also about identifying the right tool, but also giving a genuine, try to that tool, right? Often, what people do is, they'll try it for half an hour and they'll feel, okay, this doesn't work, right? So it's also important to understand what is the true potential of a tool and if it can really solve for a problem in your business, right? Or amplify or expedite any process.
Perfect. That's a very interesting take. I once again want to shift the lens a little bit, bring it on to responsible AI. I know we might be running a little short on time, but I do want all of your expert takes on responsible AI with respect to both data security and privacy, especially as marketers who work with large customer data sets, and also the environmental sustainability. That's becoming increasingly more urgent to address, to have some kind of have some kind of ability to solve for it, because it is very compute heavy and really damaging to the environment. So, Soumya, I want to start with you. As AI weaves deeper into demand gen and targeting, how do you think marketers should think about security and privacy? Especially at the enterprise level.
See, you can't afford to have data security and privacy as afterthoughts in any case, because as marketers, especially in demand gen, or even as custodians of CRM data, which is your customer data, your account data, organization data. So I think it's important to be very clear that the AI tools that you're integrating with your CRMs, do they pass the privacy notice plain English test? Do they actually are transparent in terms of how they collect, store, manage, govern the data? when we are introducing, especially in an enterprise context, if you are introducing AI tools through integrations with APIs, you need to be very clear on what the governance around those data rooms are. Where is the data being managed? I think if you are introducing an AI vendor into the mix, and as we know in B2B tech landscape, which is as it is, there is proliferation of tools, and it's a very complex landscape. And if you're bringing AI tools, are these AI vendors following the GDPR, SOX compliance? India has a DPDP Act. Are they really following those rules? Is something which we need to be mindful of, and that's what marketers should also be looking at. It's not just the responsibility of the procurement and the legal office, but also marketers, because you are sending a lot of your information collected through AI to these systems through your campaigns. So therefore, I encourage all marketers and invite all marketers to please check whether the privacy notices, the accept your cookies notice, does it pass the plain English text in your chat GPTs or any of the LLMs that you use? That will give you a context of whether it passes the data governance conversation in the organization. So data is owned by the enterprise. It's not just the marketer's responsibility, but marketers do use it and transact with it. So it's definitely something which all marketing organizations should take notice of.
That's, I think, the most important key takeaway for those who are watching here, who are, scaling tremendously fast with AI, to keep that as a check in their mind. Thank you for that, Soumya. Now, Neeraj, you work with brands that often run media-heavy campaigns, and are your clients beginning to think about the environmental cost of AI? Things like energy usage, compute load, and around image gen, video gen, and all of that.
Not really, Shweta. I mean, I think we are far away from something like this. At best, some of the large organization would have a bunch of questions during the vendor onboarding process, right? Where they'll ask you, okay, do you have these policies or these sustainability practices, etc. But as of now, I haven't come across or haven't even read about any enterprise going that path. Although I think that's one area where there should be more conversations to start off with, so that at least people start thinking in that direction.
Oh, thank you for that really brutally honest reality check for all of us marketers here. I do think more conversations are needed, and thank you for that, Neeraj. I now want to bring it back to Aji. You run deeply AI native operations, Aji, and do sustainability concerns influence how your tooling or design choices, decisions? How are you balancing some automation with the environmental cost, or is it also similar to what Neeraj said? It's currently this about speed.
See, currently it's in the early stage, and you know, in reality, it needs a lot more discussion. Okay, so the reality is our KPIs are all over the place. We want to consume more and be sustainable. That is never possible. At least in the health space, we have understood that if you eat less, you'll be healthy. But in the consumption space, we are all talking about everything else but consuming less. So whenever you will consume more, there will be sustainability issues, without doubt. And right now, the real challenge is like whatever we are trying to do at a smaller scale and etc. The the compute power, the fight over, you are looking at who owns the next sun. That's the kind of energy that is required. So China is after making a new sun, US is making a new sun, because the amount of energy that is required, like last week also, I think there was a news around that there's a good progression around it. So the kind of energy that is required, the compute that is required, and etc. is massive. So it's a, you know like, we are idiots in that sense. But then our KPIs are misaligned. We work towards GDP, and then on the other side, so it needs a very larger discussion, that how do we want to take up the sustainability? Is that a small goal, or is that a real goal?
Yeah, that's good. And as marketers, I think it's time for us to come together, really have that at least running in the background, about what kind of environmental cost is this going to drive up for the planet. And but as we keep progressing, hopefully that kind of discussion will become more mainstream. I now want to talk about a very, very important aspect that a lot of our listeners might be interested in, which is, how do they prepare for this era of AI in marketing? So what do you guys look for in a new hire, or as your team progresses, what kind of change management are you looking to do? What are you looking for in new hires? Let's start with you, Soumya.
Shweta, before they start, I think this is the time we can probably intertwine some of the questions with what you've just asked. How do they prepare? Because the questions are all resonating with what agentic AI tools can I use, and is there anything that you would propose to use? What are the list of tools that you're recommending? So when you're talking about preparedness, if you can also throw light on what kind of tools, what websites, where can they go? I really loved what Ajit said about you don't have to learn AI. AI has to be so intuitive, right? So, what is it that's going to equip us with some of those kind of things? If you can kind of bundle it up in your answers, we'll save some time.
Awesome. So again, Soumya, maybe we can start with you. I think one of the questions was about uh,
No, actually, I was looking at just before this webinar, I was looking at this World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. So I think a lot of folks will be interested to know your, viewers would be. So it has a quadrant, and I'm not able to share this because it's on my mobile, but I will share. I'll share the link with folks here. It says that by 2030, I think the skills that really, I mean, it's interestingly, there's no technology there. The skills that you would need most would be creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, and analytical thinking. So, interestingly, curiosity and lifelong learning. So, these are on the top quadrant actually. So, you would see this come up as more and more systems get automated and you work on AI systems. This is what is going to separate you and make you more human.
Right.
Good. Absolutely. Out.
Right, please, yes. I hope I answered some of that. I'll share the link to the World Economic Forum's Future of
Yeah.
Jobs report.
sure,
I
absolutely.
think that is what probably either you missed out reading or they missed out including is stakeholder management, which is one of the most complex things in which no AI can replace. That's something that we need to keep in mind.
Interesting. We should
Yes,
find some way to pass
you're
this on.
right, Gayatri. It says leadership and social influence. I think that's where,
Yeah,
an area that is a core skill that folks should start
right,
developing. Yeah.
right.
All right. Aji, back to you. What are you looking for in new hires, especially as someone who scaled that much? What's completely invaluable for you?
It's a very difficult stage. One thing I want to tell all the people is the COVID told us that even experts have no clue about what is going to happen. Okay, so because when the world is changing so fast, we can predict what is going to happen, how it's going to happen, and etc. And most probably that will be wrong. So you don't have to look at what they are predicting. Look at what is the reason behind what they are saying, so that you can be much more correct in your own assumption. Because there will be hundreds of experts with different details. So when you're hiring people right now, at our level also we have our challenge, because we have a very strong grid about how do we hire people, and in that many of the things that you know uh, is required anyway, like critical thinking, problem solving, etc., etc., was a part of that anyway. But in today's AI era, it's going to be much different. So one thing which is going to change drastically is it's not about you having the skill versus not having the skill. It's about whether you will be able to acquire a new skill, whether you are okay to learn when the master is not there in the class. So because especially in India, we don't learn unless the teacher comes inside the class. So that if I teach at various universities from XLRIs, IFTs, and etc., and all of those places, I tell that our education system fails you if you have not learned at least one subject without your teacher, because that is very critical. So because most of the time people are waiting for somebody to teach you, are you a self learner there or not? So I mean, we have a grid happy to share some elements about the grit. But self-learning, self maintaining of their own work and motivation and etc. So these are some of the very critical skills, along with the what we call it as skill of skills. Even we have created a website called Learn Skill of Skills or something like that. करके. So every skill, these are the skills which will enable other skills. And you can look at World Economic Forum 21st century skills. Most of it is 100% relevant in today's AI era as well, kind of.
Super. That's really, goes out to show how being inquisitive and being accountable will really take you far ahead. And, in my opinion, also putting that money in experimenting with the tools is one of the best ways to actually find out if it's working for your use case instead of sitting academically. And, but of course, that being said, some basics of how LLMs work and all of that is crucial to learn. Neeraj, what about you? What are you looking for in a new hire, or what is invaluable to become a part of your team?
Yeah. So I think one what Ajit said, which is learnability, right? So that is definitely very important. So someone with a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, right? So that aspect is very important. Apart from all the others, which is analytical, reasoning, etc., etc. The other thing which is very important, and we look for that aspect very closely, is what we call taste, right? So taste is nothing but the ability to filter out what out of say 5 or 10 possible solution, which is the solution that will work best for you, right? So just to give you a better example for this, if you want to generate say headline of an ad, right? So typically say if ChatGPT throws out 10 headlines or 5 headlines, right? Can you filter out and can you pick out, okay, this is the headline which will work the best for this brand, right?
Hmm.
So I think that aspect is very important. But again, I think this is a lot, work in progress. So I was recently listening to a podcast where Naval Ravikant was there, and he said that creative would be a field which would be the last frontier that AI will be able to disrupt. Although intuitively, all of us feel, creative is being disrupted the most by AI with image generation, video generation. And he explains it very well with something around how, humans have not been able to replicate brain, right? And brain, when it makes a decision, it has a lot of things. It has the environmental context, it has the experience context, right? Apart from the input context, right? Right now, the AI that we see, it only has the input context, right? It doesn't have a lot of other context that actually will help you make a decision, right? So that taste aspect is very important. It's also very different. It's also very difficult to identify this, but we are also learning as we hire people going forward. So those are the two things that we look at.
Super, guys. So I did want to touch upon a little bit of what older members, not older, that would also be me, or in marketing teams should actually unlearn. But I think we're a little short on time, and there are quite a few questions that we have to go through. So if it's okay, can we get started on the questions?
Yes, I think we should do that. You want to read it out or you want me to do it? Either ways, I'm okay.
I can do that. So,
Yeah.
Swara Sumesh, hi. Thank you so much, Swara, for your question. Wonderful insights so far. I would love to hear Soumya's thoughts on some good tools to explore vibe coding for building AI agents.
Right now, I've deployed one application. It's a mentor application using Replit. So it's an integrated development environment. It allows you to, it's an open canvas. It has an inbuilt agent which allows you to build your own product or application, or very close to your product or application through an MVP. The other recommendation that I have is, if you are reasonably comfortable with coding, then I think you should try lovable.dev as well. These would be the two that I have found the most effective in terms of tokens, cost performance ratio. Let me put it that way. But you have to be very clear with your intent in terms of why you're using that tool, because it can become extremely expensive if you're not clear. So I think from a cost performance ratio, these two are very, very, I
What
think,
is the other one? Replit and what else did you mention?
lovable.dev.
Lovable. Yes, I've heard.
Super. Thank you, Sowmya. Next is from Harini Vishwanathan. Hi, Harini. She's asked, can you guys talk more about lead generation in e-commerce using AI? Is there anything else you want to touch upon, Neeraj, in that topic, apart from what you've done so far?
So I think Aji would be the best person to talk
Yeah.
about lead gen. I mean, we don't focus a lot on that.
Sure. Ajib,
Yeah,
what
so
would you like to say?
in the lead generation, especially in e-commerce, there is not much of a lead generation because you are buying directly from the website. But otherwise, if you are looking at lead generation in general, so right now the centerpiece is Clay. So Clay AI. So what Clay does is it gives you the bare bone structures where you can put all your details of the users. It can enrich because there are platforms which are giving you all possibilities to do it, and then there are platforms like the Clay is at the center of it. So the way Na10 is very generic for everything else, Clay is very generic for everything to do with lead generation. It has integration with almost all the tools that you want, and then there are many variations of Clay that you can just do a chat gpt that which are the ones that you want to use. It Clay is right at the center and there. And then there are many tools that if you want to use for enhancing the accounts, from creating an ABM tool which is filtered out. So multiple tools at each of those levels that you can use it. But specifically from an e-commerce perspective, when you want to use a tool which is going to be lead generation and etc. So I think that needs to be understood really well. What do we mean by where we can generate the traffic? As I said, if you do a proper first principle thinking, then in many of these things, advertisement, you can do a lot of automation. In SEO, you can do a lot of automation. In social media, you can do a lot of automation, which again will drive more traffic to you, which again will drive more e-commerce to, I mean, the sales and etc. to you. But my experience so far is, in the days to come, nothing is going to work because the kind of flooding that we are going to see in terms of content is going to make promotion almost irrelevant. So you have to be exceptionally good in your product layer. If you're not exceptionally good in your product layer, rest of the things are going to be, when I say product, pricing, the combination of that winning proposition, the right to win has to be so strong that the promotion will become automated, which is easier for you to do later on, kind of a thing. So that's something. And just adding one thing on the uh, the vibe coding part of it, you can also use Firebase from Google, which is again right now very free and coming up exceptionally well for most of my applications. So Firebase by Google is something that has become my favorite in the recent times. Of course, my development team use nothing of this. They like cursors and etc kind of a thing. But yeah, for non coders like us, it is much easier to use any of this.
It is. I have tried a couple of experiments with Firebase. I have to say the capabilities are
Yeah.
unbelievable. How you can host it pretty easily through Google. It's brilliant. The next question is from Monish Muralidharan. Hi, Monish. List down your go-to AI tool and the reason behind it so we can skip experimenting with thousands of tools available. I feel you, Monish. I feel you so much. Thank you for your question. Neeraj, do you mind just listing down your top three tools that you use extensively and your reasons for why you do go for that?
So, I mean, the topmost would be ChatGPT. I mean, without any confusion. So, ChatGPT is the go-to tool, primarily for research, deep research, and also a bit of creative writing. Because I think out of all the tools, ChatGPT is the one with a bit of creative flair, right? Second that we use a lot is Claude from Anthropic. So that is also very helpful, especially in long form content. So I think that's the other question, which is, any recommended and tried out AI tools specifically for content writing, blogs and articles. So I think Claude is really helpful. And third, for image and video generation, we use something called Krea.ai. So that is also quite good. The other one which one could look at is Pika.art, which is not really great in video generation as such, but it is great in generating hooks for videos or images that works really well on social. And just one tip that I would give is that I have not seen many people using the project option on ChatGPT or Claude, right, where you can actually give custom instructions, you can put project files, and then it will give you much better output, right? So for example, if you're working on a client, have like a briefing doc as detailed as you can make it, which is about that client, and upload it on that project file, and the kind of output that you will see with that will be much better and much more aligned with that project. So that's one thing that one should look at.
Yeah, and I've also put down a list of, it didn't come out as a list, unfortunately. I've been curating a list of all tools for content creation. So I've just put that down there on the reply. So in case people are interested, they can take a look at it.
Thank you.
In fact, there are certain things specifically for marketing, and this is just from my research.
Perfect. So the next question is from Priyanshi Shah. Thank you. Hi, Priyanshi. Thank you for your question. Any recommended and tried out AI tools specifically for content writing, blogs, and articles? I think Neeraj, your answer for the previous question does address that. Do you want to add anything onto that, Aji?
Uh, Specifically, all of them are because many of the tools, their background is the foundation models. So you can look at the foundation models, which are actually giving the right type of an output. So even if I look at internally within our teams, ChatGPT and Claude is what they will use most of the time. So there are many wrappers on top of this and etc. But if you go a little hard, as in just do a little bit of customization and put those things across, then it works exceptionally well. So you need to create your own custom GPTs, and you need to have a small layer of instruction. So even if you're not able to do a custom GPT, don't worry about it. Make a document as an instruction. So whenever you need something, upload instruction plus your prompt, so that you don't have to write the instruction again and again. So your content will come as per the instruction and the brand guideline that you have, because the processing will become expensive, but then otherwise expensive, but you're not paying for it since it's still funded by the VCs. So you can still enjoy the money till they're funding the companies.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Nice. Good advice.
There is a reality filter, and I think that prompt is already available. You could probably just use that on ChatGPT. That pretty much covers the sanity check on what GPTs can deliver as an output. So you can save some precious time there.
Yeah.
Right. The next one's also from Priyanshi Shah. Also, agentic AI tools that can help with brand awareness. Sowmya, do you have anything off the top of your head?
I mean, you have to build these tools out actually. I mean, brand awareness is something which it, yeah. So I cannot think of any tool. It's all custom. You will have to build it for that particular brand. You can use some of these foundation models and build something on top of it. I think this is if you can give me a little more context, I can probably look at building something on Replit and sharing it. What are you intending to do with that brand awareness?
Right. So,
If you can give me a prompt, then maybe I can share what the tool would look like.
I think Priyanshi, you'd be better off getting in touch with Sowmya and getting that clarified for yourself. She'd be more than happy to help out. But I think we've answered all the questions that have come out from the audience. Thank you so much to all of you. GD, over to you.
Yeah, I think we are running out of time. Otherwise, I'd have wanted Aji to explain more on Mike's question, if that is right. With AI becoming central to everything from content creation to customer targeting, where do we draw the line between efficiency and losing the human touch in marketing?
Yeah.
Maybe let's Shweta. I think she'll come back.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, that basically human stays in the loop. So right now, the biggest mistake that most of the people do with the agentic AI era is that they try to automate everything from step 1 to step 10. That is still a little away for most of us. So what we need to do is automate step 1, and then have a human in the loop, then take it to the step 2, then again have a human in the loop. And once this becomes perfected, where you are seeing 80, 90, 99% accuracy in each of the step, then the human comes out of the loop. So in that way, the whole equation will become, that is what stages that you go through in any of the program AI stages that you have. So that's is going to happen in even in your smallest of the smallest steps. Like in HR also, let's say you have 10 steps. In some of the steps, automation or autonomous activity happens very quickly, but in some of the stages it does iterations for few months before. Sometimes it may not never happen. Like
Hmm.
Neeraj was mentioning about the creative thinking, and I have always this one thing that I say, that when people say AI is not as smart as the human being, and I say, which human being are you talking about? Because there is variety of human being, right? They can't be as creative people. Which creative people are we talking about? Because you have a variety of people. So the top of the layer will always be, the people who will always create the systems. So they will be difficult to replace because they have different perspective altogether. But rest of the people who are always been followers and stuff will be very easily replaceable with the system, because we run something called 2 hour AI test, where the people using AI competes with the people, rest of the people, and etc. You get surprised, and unless you see the results, people always feel that I am better than AI. Unless you fight with the AI, then only you understand that I have areas where I'm better, but I have areas where AI is far better than me. So let's not make it an AI versus human being kind of a thing. Let's AI plus human do the best kind of a thing, because it is, unless you see it, you won't get the taste of it, is what I will say.
Yeah, and thankfully we called this AI plus marketing. We didn't say AI or marketing, right? so, so
True,
thank
true.
you all so much. This has been so insightful. This has been so, I would say, a lot of good stuff. Especially if I were to quote quickly to summarize the convergence of marketing and sales, the process itself, like Sowmya you mentioned, and really like the points that Ajay made about. We should eat less to keep healthy, but we all want to consume more when it comes to AI and technology. That is a good takeaway. I'm just underscoring some of the important things that we should think through, right? And also, we are not there yet in terms of sustainability, but security. Are we there yet? We don't know. We don't know yet what we don't know. So some of those things are still, the blind men and the elephant kind of a story. We're still trying to figure it out. And I really liked what was said. As the tools keep evolving, tools keep fading into, the background. You don't have that kind of a longevity for the tool. You do something for a couple of days, something else comes up, and the models keep getting replenished, right? So it becomes very difficult. So I think instead of jumping in, and I really like what Neeraj's philosophy is about being purposeful, because that's one thing that's very close to my heart. So Shweta, you've done a fantastic job of getting all the thoughts together, and I think this is one of the best run shows in our. Of course, we've had very insightful ones earlier, but from an audience point of view, I think we've had the maximum audience now and good interactions. Hopefully, they've taken away a lot of good stuff from all of you today. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to hosting you all maybe in some other format very soon with Applied AI Association. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you.
Sweta. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, Ajit,
Thank
Neeraj.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.